How are you guys doing? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be discussing the Launchpad 0Xpad. Now the 0Xpad Launchpad, it's quite difficult to really find a good honest review about it. Now why exactly is that? I'm not sure, but all I found were very short videos without actual real value. If you feel the same and you want an actual update on how the project is doing right now, if it's a legit launchpad or not, where the investment opportunities are, then follow me today as I will give a complete in-depth review on the project. If I think it's good, if I think there's potential in there, or not at all. So we're going to look into it. I'm going to keep it as neutral as I can. So if this is what you were looking for, then please sit tight, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today. It's very good that you're here performing your due diligence, and doing research to a project you might want to invest in is very crucial. Now, this is a project, of course, there's been a lot of bearish sentiment on it. So I'm very excited to get into that, to really crack the code. Is this launchpad in fact as bad as some people say it is? Is it indeed a scam? Or is there actually a lot of very positive, good utility to this token? So we're going to get into that. Before we do, however, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel and to like the video. That came out a bit weird. Just subscribe, all right? It really is appreciated. I really do enjoy hanging out with you guys. So after that is done, please note down I'm not a financial advisor. So with all of that out the way, let's get started with this video. So 0Xpad is a multi-chain, cross-chain launchpad where you will be able to invest in early crypto projects on a variety of chains. Now, over here, we're going to start with the homepage. We're going to go through the entire homepage, and then we're going to move deeper into the project, mostly the holders of the coin and the token, the community, and the white paper. Starting at the website, however, we can see that there are that it looks quite good, right? 0Xpad, right? We see here join sales, subscribe, etc. Scrolling down, we see here why 0Xpad. So these are essentially the USPs of this particular launchpad. Of course, there's a lot of launchpads out there. Knowing why you choose this particular launchpad over another is very important. So what they list is it is decentralized. Now, to be completely fair, every single launchpad that I know is decentralized, so it's rarely a USP. However, they say 0Xpad operates as a decentralized launchpad and incubator protocol. As such, angel investing / seed funding is distributed / decentralized. Yeah. So for the rest here, early access to all. What the hell does that even mean? 0Xpad gives everyone the chance to invest in great ideas. Yeah, that's what a launchpad does. Okay. Proper vetting. 0Xpad maintains a well-rounded vetting process during the project selection stage. That should also be normal for any launchpad. So that is not necessarily a USB. It's not what I put on my homepage, right? I would put there really what would make my launchpad unique, right? Maybe they have a DAO governance. Cross-chain would have been an amazing point to put on here. Instead, they really just put the points that every launchpad has. And here, a secured platform. At 0Xpad, security is of utmost importance, right? So again, all of these points, they seem to kind of be basic, right? This is what a launchpad is supposed to do. So I'm not really seeing any utility or any USPs over there. Features, the 0X Launchpad. So of course, this is their launchpad. They also have an 0X incubator. I'm not even sure if this is an O or 0, but I feel like 0X Launchpad would feel weird, so I'm supposing it's 0X Launchpad, right? They have the 0X Vault and the 0X Mine. So the 0X Vault is 0Xpad's staking and incubator vaults, and the 0X Mine is 0Xpad's liquidity mining feature. And the incubator, of course, being able to incubate projects before putting them on the launch. Okay, pretty straightforward. Most launchpads I have reviewed are actually also incubators and have other utilities to the token. So again, it's not anything out of the ordinary. It's good that they have it. If it of course works, we'll look at that in a little bit, but that brings a little bit more utility to the token. But again, we'll move into that in a little bit. Now, how it works, here is what sets the launchpad apart, at least a little bit, compared to other launchpads in the crypto space, right? So normally, of course, you here, the people, would participate in a launchpad and would always stake. You will always have to stake, right? And then you would come into one of those tiers, right? And what 0Xpad says is, even if you haven't staked, these are the IDO guest access points. Now you can participate as a guest without having staked. Now that is a big USP, right? Wallet balance will be required. Balance maintenance during sale, whitelisting 48 hours before sale, and you will need social tasks. Now, it is pretty good to see that they also offer the option for investors to invest without having their tokens staked. That is certainly a USP, and I don't see it that often. So I'm wondering why they didn't just put that on the homepage right up there. We had to scroll quite a bit to find out about it, but that is what this launchpad does. You can also invest as a guest. For the rest, if you do stake, you will be in one of the tiers, I suppose bronze, silver, gold, platinum, or platinum LP. And I'm pretty sure those are the tiers. Not quite though, because we don't see how much we'll need to have locked up. So I suppose there is a better overview of the tiers later down the line. What is this? This seems to be a chart of some sorts, but it doesn't really mean anything to me, at least. So over here, we then have the roadmap. We're going to move back over to the tiers in a little bit. It's very important, but I assume we'll get there naturally. So use the timestamps if you want to see the tiers right away. For now, however, we're going to look at the roadmap. Now, why is the roadmap important? It really does show what the team has been doing and, of course, what they are planning on doing. So Q3 2021, they started. That is still quite new. So they started with the market research, project formation, products and features design and development, key mechanism development, MVP testing and evaluation, seed funding raised. Then in Q4, they went over to the website. They only deployed the website in the Q4, which is quite interesting. Now, before you're like, okay, why the hell is this important? Okay, hear me out, right? Why is it important? Well, mostly because if you look at this roadmap, it has to kind of click, right? It has to make sense. So the first step, of course, should be to launch your website, and website deployed Q4. So Q3 really was mostly for research. So it's okay to not immediately launch your website in the first quarter. That's actually okay, right? That was a research quarter. So in Q4, they then deployed the website. Then they did the IDO and incubation application open, the Ox Vault and Ox Mine deployed on BSC, and IDO tiers were designed. The token public IDO was done, or should have been done, but it wasn't because it doesn't have a check mark. And as we can see over here, all of this is not checked either, even though it is already Q3 of 2022, meaning either they didn't do it or they are not actively updating their roadmap. Either case is really bad. So this is overall just very bad to begin with. What they were planning on at least, and look, it looks, they put the marker here. You see this orange thing? So they put it here. So I assume that they just didn't update the roadmap. They might have implemented some of these functions, but they just haven't updated it. Now, what they have planned on doing, mostly, as you can see here, the cross-chain. So they want to expand to Solana, Ethereum, Polygon, Cardano. And in Q1, team expansion, target one, project incubated every 3 months. First project to be incubated, selected in January 2022, etc., etc. Okay, so that's a roadmap. Again, it has not been updated, which is actually really bad. A roadmap should absolutely be updated every quarter, so that is very, very messy. Moving over to the token information, here we can see pretty neatly put down everything about the token name, the token ticker, token maximum supply, and the BSC token contract. Moving over here to the partners and collaborators, we see the Binance Smart Chain. Now, this is not a collaborator or a partner, they are active on the Binance Smart Chain. So that is a little bit of a, it's not really how they word it, like how they put it out there. They put it out like they have partnered with the Binance Smart Chain, not quite. Then we have the Etna network, the BSC Time, Solid, Polygon, PancakeSwap, right? So I'm not really seeing any big partners here. I mean, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, right? Those are not partners. They're just active on their chains. PancakeSwap, that's not a partner. They're just working together. They're active on, or they're available on PancakeSwap. It's not very difficult to achieve. So yeah, the partners are really disappointing, I would almost say. Look at this. I mean, this is it. I know it's a new Launchpad, I gotta give him some slack, but definitely not a lot of partners out there, which is important to take note of. If the Launchpad was of a certain quality, then we would have definitely seen more and higher tier partners. So important to take note of. Might be changing in the future though if the project does continue to evolve, but as of right now, they don't really have any meaningful partners there. And that's the end of their homepage actually. So we saw a couple of USPs and a quick introduction of the project. We saw a roadmap and we saw a bit of token information in the partners. So that's a pretty good homepage overall. And this wasn't even the app yet. So now we're actually going to move into the app, which is over here. And this is where it's going to get spicy, right? Because the homepage is quite simple, right? It's just an overview and you can't really make a judgment or a review around the homepage because there's not a lot of information about how the Launchpad is performing. And it's mostly just marketing, right? They're going to make it look good and pretty. So here is where we're really going to find out if this Launchpad is indeed quite sketchy or if it's just really good and just in a startup phase, right? So starting off, we can see here that the completed sales, there's only 3 of them, one of which has been their own project. So they've only done 2 projects and they didn't even fill it 50% of the way. Now, gotta give them some slack. Their own project that they nearly 100%ed it. Not quite, I believe, but nearly. We cannot click on the projects, right? We don't have a page with more information about the launch or anything like that, right? So that's bad. That is, if you guys don't watch my reviews often, I calculate the quality of the projects on a Launchpad on 4 metrics. And the first one is transparency, right? Do we get an in-depth look on the projects and all of its information? That is actually one of the most important ones. Second metric, are there a lot of projects, right? Did they do a lot of projects? Are they having a lot of projects upcoming? And since they don't really have anything upcoming or going on right now, they haven't done a lot right now either, we're not really getting that one, right? So we're not getting the point for having a lot of projects. We're not getting a point for transparency. The other 2 points are mostly for quality, right? Are the projects good? And how did the prior projects perform? Did people make profit? And if we look at these projects right now, what we can see right away is that there's just very little to go off of. And we're not giving any links. So we'll have to actually go to Google, type in the project in and of itself, but I'm going to go on a limb here and say that we don't have to. This one, bank, didn't even fill up for 3% or whatever, right? It's nothing. They didn't raise any money here. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say that the projects were not any good. Otherwise, there would have been more investors, right? It's not because it's a new Launchpad. I've seen plenty of new Launchpads absolutely fill up their pools. They're not filling them up. And they're not giving us the transparency to actually look at the projects either. So again, if the people from 0Xpad are watching, keep in mind, those things are important, right? You need to be able to give that transparency and not filling up those pools. I mean, there has to be a reason for that as well. Now, moving over to the upcoming sales, what we see here is also not very pleasant. We can see 3 projects, both 6 actually, don't have any logos. In fact, they're not really there. Look at this. We have to be announced without a logo. Not clickable. So they kind of make it look like there's a project there, but that it's just to be announced, but it's not really there, right? It's not actually there. We do have one. It's called NRV. It is clickable. So this is actually the only upcoming project that we actually have information on. So we're going to look at that, see what information we can gather from this. So we do have a website. We can click on this, but it's for not found. Wow, okay. Project overview, give it some time, and Nerve protocol will be on every game app developer's mind. With Nerve, developers will be able to make every transaction on their app game seemingly gasless. Users will experience every transaction on the app or game as gasless. Okay. Token distribution will be only 12% at TGE and then 88% distribution linearly in 6 months. Ideal assets for guests and members. Token price will be 001. Right. So here's the thing, right? Let's see if their Twitter is at least linked. Yes, their Twitter seems to be linked. Nerve protocol. All right, so this is the project that is coming up. Oh, clicked on that. All right, so I can't say too much about the project without being able to see the, okay, so they do have a white paper. They just don't have a website. So I'm not going to go through the whole white paper again because it's not a Nerve protocol review video. What I can say, however, though, is that not having the website linked, not having the correct logo, is definitely not very good. But at least there is a project upcoming, right? Gotta give 0Xpad some slack. There is an upcoming project, which is good. Thank you for that, right? But for the rest, though, you know, we're not seeing projects, right? One upcoming project, very vaguely, no website linked. You can hardly call it a project. It's not really going for it. So thus far, it's looking quite tricky. Anyways, I mean, they totally can still redeem themselves. We're going to take a look at the token, right? How was the TGE and how's the token looking, right? And after that, we're going to move into the tier system and the white paper. So looking at the token, we can see that it's going for 1 cent. And look at this. All right, TGE here, big spike, beginning, spiked up to about 10 cents. And after that, it went down. It had some spikes. Here going back up to 6 cents from 4. Here going again to around 6. And after that, it just went down and it basically just flatlined. Look at this. Price went down, never went up again. This wasn't that long ago. I mean, at the end of the day, look, it's not that long ago. If we zoom in, we can see some serious liquidity problems. Look at this. The volume here, 23, so no volume at all. Boom, spikes up to 1200 volume. Price spiking up quite significantly. Definitely just low liquidity, low volume brings insane volatility, which can make the price do this and then restore itself again. And even on the 3-month chart, you can see that it's very spiky, which really just means low liquidity, which is not good. I mean, let me just reiterate, that is not good. And of course, looking at the all-time chart, we can just see that the token really plummeted down. Now, the overall community sentiment is quite divided. There's plenty of bullish investors, but there's also plenty of bearish ones out there as well. Overall, though, the fully diluted market cap has increased with 1% and the volume increased by 6,000%. They do have everything linked over here, and around 900 investors have it on their watch list. It is ranking very high at 5,900, so it's high is bad, like high is smaller. I mean, not necessarily bad, but it's smaller, just so you guys are aware. So yeah, that is pretty much all about the project over on CoinMarketCap. Looking at the markets, we can see that their only exchange platform at the moment is PancakeSwap. Now, PancakeSwap is a perfectly fine platform, so there's nothing wrong with that, but usually launchpads do have some additional exchanges to give their investors a little bit more room to choose which one they like. They didn't have that, they don't have it, which is unfortunate, but there you go. It is what it is. All right, so that is all. Now we're going to move over to their holders, and then we're going to look at the tiered system. So stay tuned, guys. A lot of value and important information is coming, and I am yet to make my personal price prediction. So stay tuned, everyone. Okay, so over on BSC Scan, we can here see what the token holders look like. We can see that there are around 1,100 token holders as of right now, which of course indicates that it is a small launchpad. We already knew this. It's a new launchpad. It's a small launchpad. We also see that there's very low transfers, only 29,000 of them. Looking at the holders, we can see 50% of the tokens are being held by one wallet. 10% are also held, 20% also. So there's 50, 60, 70% held by wallets. This is PancakeSwap. So that's already 78. That is already, let's see, this and this and this is easily around 90% of all of the tokens are held by contracts. So what remains are maybe a handful, 4 or 5 wallets holding quite a significant amount of tokens. And for the rest, like this here, 10,000. But again, the price is so low that, 10,000, we're talking about not anything big, right? Not any big amounts. So there's maybe 25 relatively large holders And for the rest, look, this is already 5,000 tokens, and well, 5,000 times 1 cent. You do the math, it's not a lot. So there's not a lot of people holding money into this Launchpad. Gotta ask yourself why, I mean, a small Launchpad, that's one thing, but even in small Launchpad, usually you see some very veteran investors that, who did research, figured, hey, this is a really good project. It might be small, but it's a very good project, so I'm gonna get into it regardless. We're not seeing that here, right? We're not really seeing those big investors vetting this project, realizing, okay, it's small, but it has potential, so we're going to get into it. We're not seeing that. We're seeing small wallets, very small amounts, not many big whales. And what does that really mean if we look at this project from an investment point of view? Well, nothing good, really, right? So again, I'm not trying to trash this project too much, but we just got to be realistic when we do a Launchpad review, right? Sometimes I'm positive, sometimes I'm negative. Overall, I am seeing this as a red flag. Now, let me know in the comments down below if you guys are like, hey, that's not the case. I don't agree with you. I'm always open for discussions, but in my opinion, that is certainly not a good thing. Now, looking at the transfers, right, what we can see here is that there's not a lot of movement being done around the token. We're seeing a couple transfers every day, not a lot, mostly through PancakeSwap, right? People buying tokens, selling tokens, etc., yada yada. Not a lot of movement in the token. Now, again, this is quite irrelevant, right? How much is the token being moved around? Not quite important, but still good to just note down just in case and just to be aware of everything. All right, so that's just about it regarding the token. Let's now move over to the white paper and discuss the tokenomics, as it is, well, let's just say long overdue. Okay, let's see where I got it. So this is a medium. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is their light paper. They don't have an actual white paper, unfortunately. They only have this. Now, I did find, let me bring it up here, the tier weight mechanics. Now, it took me a while to find out they have quite the complicated tier system, and it took me a while to actually understand. They didn't do a lot of effort to explain it, but here's how it is, all right? So, as to my understanding, here's what happens. Let's bring up the tiers. So, your tier is decided by how long you lock up your tokens. So, 3 days is bronze, 30 silver, 365 platinum, right? So depending on how long you locked up your tokens, you will get a certain tier. The bigger your tier is, the bigger your allocation factor is. So if you have 2,000 tokens and you are in gold, you'll get 2,000 with a 0.8 allocation factor. So it works a little bit different than most Launchpads do. And even if I'm wrong here, right, they didn't do a lot of effort explaining it. So it's a bit of a mystery, really. They put all of these fancy mathematical equations, but it doesn't say me anything, right? This is all I could gather, right? These are the tiers, and the allocation factor is decided not by how much you stake, but rather by how long you stake. And if you want to have a bigger multiplier, you stake longer, and the more coins you have, obviously the more impactful your multiplier will be. Make sense? Kind of, right? All right, there we go. So that is how the tier system works. Now, again, like I said before, you can also participate without staking as a guest. You have to do social quests, and you do need a wallet balance. You also need to do whitelisting 48 hours before sale and balance maintain it during sale. Right. So that is also a possibility. So that is all for the tier. Again, they put examples. They put let's actually read the example. For a given IDO, given that A max is 10,000 USD and Q threshold 3,000 XPAD, scenario 1. In this scenario, the user stake or tokens held 30,000 XPAD. Then user allocation for the IDO will be done. A user is AF times A max. Nah, this is too... Right, okay, this is what is important here, right? You have your amount of staked tokens times the multiplier of how long you stake. Right. So this is basically what we already said. So you'll have, if you, let's say, stake for a platinum, which is an entire year of staking, and you have 10,000 tokens, it will be 10,000 times 1. So 10,000 allocation. Right? Makes sense. Okay. That's how it works. Now, let's actually move back over to the beginning of the white paper to see how they present themselves to their audience. Starting here, they say intro to 0Xpad, a very long bit of text. This can definitely be shortened down. It's too much text for people to read. Let's see, tier weight mechanism. 0Xpad uses a novel tier weight mechanism to ensure fairness in the distribution of members. Right, we just went over that. Decentralized, yep. Early access to all, yep. Proper vetting, yep. And secure platform, right. This is already on their homepage, and it didn't really impress me. 0X Launchpad. Users of 0Xpad have continual access to innovative projects. Continual. Currently, there is no project, so it's not continual in that sense, but yes, I mean, they have access to projects, fair enough. Proper vetting, roadmap, visibility assessment, etc. Tokenomics, lockup, investing, audit of codes. Then they have a bit of text about their incubator. Now, the incubator protocol, right, it's nothing too interesting. Oh, hit my mic there. It's nothing too interesting that you really need to know about. It really just means that they help projects incubate, get big, and that really only is a USP when they have shown to have a marketing team and like a strategic advisory team that really can help projects. They haven't really convinced me that they have that capacity just yet themselves, and therefore I am not very bullish on their incubation program either. Of course, this could change. Everything is possible to change, but for right now, that doesn't really sell it to me very much. Then, of course, the Oxford, the Oxmine, we already read it. All of that was on the website as well. Then here we have the use cases and a value proposition. 0Xpad token has several use cases as listed below. 0Xpad membership system. The membership system of 0Xpad is dependent on 0Xpad token, the membership type and level. Right. Okay, so depending on how much tokens you have and how long you have them staked and what vault you have them staked in, you will get a certain membership. Now, what membership that is, we don't know. Okay. The tier weight token allocation mechanism rely on 0Xpad token. A user gain access by becoming a member. All right. Incubator allocation access is also dependent on the user membership. Voting weight of a user. Okay, so there is voting. Will also depend on the amount of 0Xpad tokens staked by the user or on the value of the user's LP locked in the liquidity mining feature. Right, so the more tokens you have staked, the more impressive your vote will become. Stakers and liquidity miners earn more 0Xpad tokens by staking 0Xpad tokens and LPs of 0Xpad tokens respectively. Then here we have their token metrics, which are basically just their tokenomics. So here we see the protocol allocation. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. So team is, well, actually, why don't they put the percentages down? Right, we have the tokens, the amount of tokens, but we don't have a percentage. Please put that in. Do we see it here though? Yes, we do see it here. Okay, this could have been done a lot better. Wait, team allocation will be 3%. 100% of it will be locked for 2 years. Wow, that's one hell of a cliff. 10% unlocked every quarter after lockup, and only 3%. This is interesting, very interesting. So they only give themselves 3% of the total tokens, and they will give themselves a 2-year cliff, which is very uncommon. It's a very long cliff. Liquidity will be 6%, 100% will be unlocked at TGE, of course. Only 2% for marketing, which is very little for a small launch pad. 100% will be locked. Only maximum of 10% can be unlocked at a time. And voting is required for the unlock, okay? Future development 7%, 100% locked. Partnership allocation 10%, 100% locked. Pre-sale will be 10%, IDO allocation 12%, and protocol allocation will be 50%. What does that mean? The protocol allocation is the allocation for rewarding users of the Oxfold, Oxmine, and Incubator as such. It is distributed to users over several years. A forecast done on the distribution shows that this allocation will take 15 to 20 years to be fully distributed. 15 to 20 years. Now, if you want my personal opinion on this, the crypto market is ever changing, changes all the time. Projects now, even DAO Maker, I don't see DAO Maker around in 15 years. I mean, the thing is, right, they're on top of their game right now, but 15 years, 20 years ago, right? 20 years ago, there was no crypto, right? So what makes you think that in 20 years from now, we're going to have people still using this and things still working the same way? So putting this many tokens aside and making it last 15 to 20 years is quite irrelevant. It's quite irrelevant, right? That's my opinion again. If you're like, hey, that's not true, like in 20 years we'll do things the exact same way, then let me know. But in my opinion, that is just not something that is very relevant. Instead, these tokens could have been distributed somewhere else as well. But again, that's my personal opinion. Circulating supply forecast, the circulating supply at TGE, TGE 13 million. Here's the forecast. What the fuck? What the hell am I looking at? I have no idea. Actually, no idea what that is. Wait, no, I'm getting a headache looking at that. That is not, I'm not going to understand that. So here we have the pre-sale / private round. In this round, initial funds was raised. Funds, I suppose you mean funds, was raised to kickstart the project. Details on this sales are as followed. Okay. Yeah, I'm not very interested in that. Participation type, yeah, this we already went over this. We have the member participation. Here are the memberships though. So the memberships are tiers, right? To become a bronze member, a user needs to stake 0Xpad token in the bronze staking vault. Bronze membership is the lowest membership type of tier. Members of this tier enjoy guaranteed allocations in IDOs, and the allocation is higher than guests. Right, so you need to stake it for 3 days, which is in the bronze vault. And you will have guaranteed allocation, which is actually a positive. There's no lotteries, so that's good. Unless the guests are lotteries. I'm not sure actually. Are the guest lotteries? Whitelisted, initial steps. Right, okay. Note, guest participation allocation is not guaranteed. So if you participate as a guest, so without staking, you do have a lottery ticket instead of a guaranteed allocation. And here, Lord and behold, more equations. I'm not going to bother you guys with it. Here we have the staking. We're actually going to get into that in a little bit because it is actually quite important. And yeah, actually it's all the interesting parts over there. So before we move over to the team, let's actually move over to the staking, as it is something we haven't really covered yet in this review. So the staking, of course, we have the bronze vault, the silver vault. It's not exactly like what they said over here. Right here they say 3-day lockup. It's not really true. Bronze needs 7 days, silver needs 30, gold 180, and platinum 365. So once you bought your tokens on PancakeSwap, you will then be able to stake it over here. And yeah, the APR goes from 20 all the way to 100%. And of course, you will have a different allocation multiplier. Here's the early unstake penalty, 5% for bronze, 7% for silver, 15% for gold, and 30% for platinum. Okay. The global Oxford metrics, total staked, very small amount actually. Numbers of users, 1826. Yeah, that's right. Total rewards, we don't have any data on that. And here you will have an overview of your 0Xpad stakings, looking quite simple, actually very good design in my opinion. Obviously, I don't have any tokens, so for me it's going to be empty. Again, you can go here to my tokens. I don't have any. This is the Ox mine. So here you see your own stake, your yield tax, your global Oxmine metrics, and all of the other information. So you can withdraw your yield, stake, unstake, etc. It's the same thing. You can mine here if you want. So that is another, just a utility of the token. And that is pretty much it, right? So here you have the Ox Vault as well, the Ox Mine, your tokens. Here you have the sales, all the projects that should be there, but are not really there as of right now. And here you have the incubator, but it's not clickable. And we can actually see that we're a guest right now because we don't have anything staked. Okay, so that is all for that. Let's move over and take a look at the team. Looking at the team, we can see that they are not really doxed. As we can see here, we don't see a banner, no profile picture for both the... oh wow, look at this. My life revolves around Web3. Eat, sleep, breathe, Web3. Blockchain, wannabe tech entrepreneur. We have officially entered MetaYog. Okay, so let's see what is it on here. Chief Executive Officer. Yep, that's it though. So we're not seeing him doxed. We don't see any particular experience either. Now, again, I have invested in non-doxed team launchpads and stuff like that. It's not the end of the road. You can do it, right? Engine Starter does not have a fully doxed team, and it's a big launchpad, right? What I do have to say is, if there are already a bunch of red flags, then you really can't afford to also be undoxed. Also, not a very professional description overall here, and not really a lot of experience. Over here in Austin Desmond, my bad. Same thing can be said, not doxed. We don't see any experience here. So yeah, definitely not the most impressive leaders here, because we don't see experience, we don't see them locked, doxed, my bad. So that is certainly not a good thing in my opinion. All right, then there's one thing left to do in this review, and that is moving over to their Twitter and their Medium. So we can see that they have a small Twitter of 13,000 followers. They joined in October 2021, so it's quite new. Their banner is quite lazy. It just says multi-chain launchpad and decentralized incubator protocol. For the rest though, they don't really post anything anymore. The Twitter kind of died as of April and May. After that, it's just been nothing, not even retweets, just nothing, almost like they've abandoned the project. Right, so they say here, waiting, we're waiting, nothing happening. After that, basically just the Twitter died. Same can be said about the Medium. We see here around April and January, they were still posting blogs, but nowadays they don't have any blogs anymore. They're not posting anymore. And we can also see that they only have 353 followers on Medium. So it kind of died, right? It kind of died. So let's actually retrace our steps and make our final thoughts known. 0Xpad is an interesting one. They have kind of removed themselves off the radar. They're not launching anything right now. They're not active on Twitter. They're not giving out any updates. People are quite bearish on them. Right, there are good things about this launchpad as well, but clearly in its current state, I cannot recommend you guys to invest in this right now. Token is lacking utility. There is crazy volatility in the price, and as of right now, it appears that the team is not really doing anything. And let's face it, most reviews on YouTube look kind of butted. Now, again, I'm not trying to roast 0Xpad, right? I'm just giving my personal, humble opinion. Now, if the team was to come back and actually make certain changes and actively start launching again, everything I said could potentially change. But for now, that is my prediction of 0Xpad. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please make sure to like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you guys for joining me. Ciao, ciao.